Welcome to another edition of Perfect Game College Baseball. I'm Brett Dolan, filling in for Daron Sutton, and joined as always by a good friend, Hunter Pence. We've got two guests today, but first and foremost, Hunter, before I tell you about the two guests, this is the time of the year for college baseball people. The JUCOs have started. We're about a week away when really I think we can get excited about the 2023 campaign.
Yes, this is an extraordinarily exciting time in the college baseball department. All the work, all the fall ball, all the recruiting. Let's get on the field and let's go play. And I know all these players and coaches are chomping at the bit.
Our first guest is Kirk Saarloos, the head coach at TCU, a guy who pitched in the minors, pitched in the majors, was a tremendous pitching coach for this program when they went to 4 straight College World Series. And he's got his chance to take over. This is his second year as the head coach. They go in as the preseason favorites. They've won the regular season titles. It seems like it's going to be another good year for the Frogs for Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk, he's been doing this a long time. First-year head coach, but he's played, he's walked the walk, he's done pitching coaching and all sorts of accolades. Big 12 Coach of the Year in his first year as head coach, and the TCU team is looking really, really veteran. It's a team that has a lot of experience. It's going to be exciting to get to talk and pick his brain about pitching. He's one of the best. He's a mastermind, and I'm very thrilled to get to talk to him.
Then we get to visit with Jack Payton of Louisville. All he did was have just an incredible year, Hunter, last season, following up a guy, Henry Davis, who was the number 1 overall pick in that same position the previous year for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He had a chance to watch him, play behind him, learn from him, and my goodness, did he jump right in and take over.
Yeah, it's absolutely an exciting year for Jack. Still putting up exceptional numbers, hell of an offense, and just playing with the number 1 catching prospect. So Louisville, safe to say they have a lot of talent there, and he's going to fit right in and ready and primed. And it's going to be exciting to hear about his excitement in this season, what's going on at Louisville, and also to get to hear a little bit about playing for Dan McDonnell.
Absolutely. And so Kirk Saarloos is the first man up. We'll also get into at the very end whether Hunter in his career, it was short pants or long shorts. You won't want to miss that discussion. We're still trying to make that decision. But Kirk Saarloos coming up next on Perfect Game College Baseball. Well, today on Perfect Game College Baseball, we're going to talk TCU Horned Frogs with Kirk Saarloos, the head coach. Year number 2 for him as the head man, but he's been with this program for a long time, back to 2013, and part of those 4 straight College World Series stretches and trying to get his team to Omaha, but also picked first preseason in the Big 12. Kirk, I know this is a fun time of the year. I got to believe this is one of those weeks where you're excited and kind of counting down the days to games, but at the same sense also wanting just a little more time to kind of put some finishing touches on a few things.
Yeah, I think the players probably are eager to get to play somebody else, but I think as coaches, you're kind of like, we can push the pause button for a couple more days. Let's make sure we got everything installed. Let's make sure everything looks the way we want it to. So the difference between a player and a coach probably is a little bit different in terms of what we're thinking.
Is it any different for you being in year 2 as the head coach? I mean, obviously you were around this program, you were around this team for so long, but there are a lot of responsibilities like this that come with being the head coach. Has it calmed down any? Is it any different year 2 than year 1?
Not really. I mean, year 1 was kind of what I expected. The only thing that changed was my office is a little bit bigger and it's a little bit further down the hall, and so I think the other things, like you said, it's off the field stuff. On the field, it hasn't changed at all. It's just the off the field stuff in terms of sometimes you get decision fatigue, sometimes, all the decisions come to your desk and you got to, figure out what you want and what you don't want. But really it comes down to, you have a lot of great people around you, like I do with our baseball operations and coaching staff and support staff. It makes it really easy.
Well, Kirk, you obviously didn't have too much decision fatigue as the Big 12 Coach of the Year. Congratulations on your first year, but you've been grinding this for a long time. You've had tremendous amount of success in the pitching department, and I love to learn about this from someone with your resume. This is a question I've wanted to ask for a long time, but I've never really had someone with your kind of your journey. Describe, because we've talked pitching philosophy, and I want to get to that on you, but can you talk a little bit about preparing as a starting pitcher versus preparing as a relief pitcher? Because you did both, and you did both really well for a long time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of that we're dealing with right now with some of our young guys, because all the high school kids were all starting pitchers, and now, some of their roles are going to be coming out of the bullpen. So How do you get your body loose? How do you get your mind ready when you don't know exactly when you're coming in? Most of those times, those guys take longer to get ready. Can they get ready quicker? So I think the guys that the more athletic they are, obviously, the easier it is for them to transition down there. A lot of times you get those big, those bigger, slower moving, maybe not as athletic guys that all of a sudden they're in the bullpen. It's like, wow, we got to figure something out for these guys because all they've been known is, okay, I'm going to take an hour to get ready. I'm going to start. Well, now it's like you're in the bullpen. It's like, buddy, we don't got an hour. Like you maybe have 5 minutes, so that's a lot of fun. But really it's the mentality portion of it. As soon as you get the physical routine down, it's the mental aspect of it. Okay, as a starting pitcher, usually you have, 6 here in college baseball, you have, 6 days between starts. So it's a slow build to it with a set routine. Out of the bullpen, it's a mentality of, okay, what's my role and when do I get mentally locked in? If you're a closer, I don't need you mentally locked in the 3rd inning. Let's get your body prepared. Let's get out there in the 5th and let's start getting in our routine then. But if you're a long reliever, we might need to watch the game and be locked in early in the game because that's your role. So that's the big thing is trying to tell these guys the difference between mental and physical in terms of how to get ready.
Kirk, I've always thought that this is like something that most casual fans, don't really understand. Is like, especially like relief pitchers. It's like, I'm chilling, I'm talking with my guys, I'm in the game. That's a mental thing, and like you gotta prep your body as an athlete. And I'm sure a lot of these guys that are used to having a whole week to prep for their start, they set their diets, they set their sleep time. So it is a whole new ballgame. Thanks for sharing that. And then I just got to get a little bit to kind of let's get like culturally philosophize the pitching in your eyes. Like, what are some keys to success as a pitching staff and as a pitcher in the college level?
Well, I think there's a lot of ways to get good hitters out. Like yourself, it was, you either have to have really good stuff. For me, it's 5 or 6 things. You either have to have just overpowering stuff. You need to have some deception. You need to be able to change speeds. You need to be able to locate and have some movement. So if you start checking off a lot of those boxes, you're going to be really successful. And at the college level, you're dealing with guys that maybe don't have pure stuff, but they have some of the other things, movement, deception, and changing speeds. I think ultimately it comes down to, can I command my fastball to both halves of the plate? And then can I throw a secondary pitch in the strike zone in the hitter's count? And then do I have a pitch that I can put somebody away with? I think if you don't have a put away pitch, well then at bats, hitters aren't scared. They're like, okay, I'll wait you out because you're not going to be able to put me away with 2 strikes anyway. So, or if you're, a 1-pitch guy, you're not going to be pitching long, as we all know. So really it's make it pretty simple, repeat your delivery and do one of those, 5 or 6 things. And the more boxes you can check, the better you're going to be.
Kirk, everything changes sometimes, and it's not year to year. It may be over a 2 or 3 year stretch. It feels like in the big leagues in recent years, people have been trying to beat people up in the zone and trying to elevate. To me, watching TCU over the years, and maybe this is even going back to Evan Scoug and some of the catchers you've had, I felt like you've worked the bottom of the zone as good as anybody. I mean, that pitch that might be a little bit down, but you get the strike and kind of maybe expand the parameters of the zone.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys we've had here in the past have been guys that are, maybe more of a 2-seam guy than a true 4-seam guy. So, before the analytics came out, we had guys like, Brandon Finnegan was a sinker slider guy. Preston Morrison was a 2-slotted right-hander that could just pound the bottom of the zone. We've had a lot of guys like that in years past. We've had some guys that, wow, you didn't really know why, but it's like, okay, their fastball plays more up in the zone. Riley Farrell, some of the more, power arms that have come through here where, you as a coach knew what the hitters told you in terms of your eyes. Now it's actually quantified with all these different tracking devices. So for us, it's about, okay, we're going to pitch at the bottom of the zone until we understand that, okay, we could beat you up at the top of the zone. Because I think if you're at the bottom and then we shoot it up, I think it does a big difference in terms of changing eye levels as opposed to always pitching up. I think it's a really good skill to be able to pitch at the top of the zone consistently, but you got to make sure that you have the pitch arsenal to be able to do that. So I think it comes down to personnel and then coaching them up in terms of understanding why you're that type of pitcher. Because you watch, like you said, pro baseball all the time now, and everybody's throwing it up in the zone, and now guys, well, I want to pitch up in the zone. No, buddy, you don't want to pitch up in the zone. Trust me. The hitters will tell you where you need to be pitching, either up or down. They'll tell you really fast.
I love that, and it is kind of a cat and mouse game and a little bit of the dynamics, which brings me to another question that I think everyone kind of has a different school on this. Are you calling the game from the dugout with your catcher, or is the catcher calling the game? Are you letting your pitchers call the game? What's kind of because y'all have really smart pitchers, you guys a lot of success there. What's your thoughts on all of that? Because it is at the college level, they definitely don't have as much knowledge as you do just yet. It's hard to take all of that in 1 year, 4 years.
Yeah, we do a little bit of both. Depending on the catcher pitcher relationship. Like a couple years ago, we had a catcher that had been here for 4 years and had caught pretty much everybody on the staff and had a feel and a knowledge and understanding how to pitch and how to call pitches. And so there's certain times I just let him run. And then there's certain times where, we might have a more inexperienced guy behind the plate and kind of basically all call the pitches. And so, but ultimately it comes down to every one of our guys has the ability to shake. So really they're calling their own game, and my job is during inter-squad games and practices is to talk about why I'm calling pitches as I'm calling pitches, so that because ultimately when they leave here, they're going to be calling their own game and their stats are going to be on the back of their baseball card. So they have to have an understanding of why certain pitches and certain counts and reading swings and hitters. So, but yeah, ultimately I would say most of the time I'm calling it, but then we'll have a discussion because my favorite thing to do is get a pitcher and a catcher to be on the same page where I'm out of it and they can kind of take the reins and run with it.
Yeah, that's really empowering it when you can reach that, and man, I'm sure at the college level that's a really fun game to play and to watch them grow into that. Coming into this second season, this is one of the most exciting times for me. I know we're about to play games. You're saying you want to slow it down. Give me some more time to prep them. But who has had like an off season that's like looking prime for like a breakout, or has put in the work in the weight room, or maybe made some adjustments mechanically? Obviously you're looking at like River Ridings and the potential of him. Braden Taylor had a crazy good year. He's coming back. So just kind of your thoughts as the scope of your team right now, and who's looking like a little bit different.
Well, I don't think Braden Taylor's looking a little bit different. I just think he's just a really good player. So I'll start with him because he's obviously going to hit in the middle of our order and has had a great 2-year career so far here. I'm really excited about Cam Brown on the mound. He has the stuff. We've made some delivery tweaks, and it's really allowed him to be more consistent. He's had a really good January and February so far. Really, it comes down to, can you, like with any team, but can you keep your starting pitchers healthy? Can you keep your position players healthy? Can you stay healthy? And then can you have seasons that were better from guys that are veteran guys from the year before? You can't teach experience, and that's something that we have a lot of on this team. Our catcher's in his 4th year. Braden's a junior. Our second baseman's a junior. First baseman played every game at first base last year. Center field has played every game in center field for the last 3 years, and then our right fielder and left fielder, same thing. So you have a lot of veteran presence in the order. So you're just looking for those guys to just take another step. And then from the pitching staff, I think ultimately it comes down to always starting pitching. Starting pitching will cover a lot of the sins that you have in a rotation. If you got guys that can take the ball every 7th day and go 6 or 7 innings, give you a chance to win.
Kirk Saarloos of TCU, our guest here on Perfect Game College Baseball. Kirk, I want to take you just a little deeper on a couple of players. I enjoyed hearing about Braden Taylor because he's a name we hear across the country. But there's 2 guys I'm looking at it and haven't seen them a lot in person, although I will in Arlington and Houston, that their numbers are interesting. Elijah Nunez walked 58 times last year and stole 30 bases. And Austin Davis, coming over from West Virginia, 74 hits and 29 stolen bases. You guys have always been a great base running program, and base running doesn't always translate into stealing bases. It's first to third and doing some other things. How do these guys kind of provide a little different element maybe than some other players in the country?
Well, I think what speed does is it changes the game. Even if, like you said, you don't steal a base, you're changing what the pitcher is having to think about. You're changing how he is he comfortable now executing pitches to the plate when he's worrying about his leg time and he's having to pick 3 or 4 times. In college baseball, people get scared to death and pick all the time, and next thing you know, they're out of rhythm. and they end up throwing maybe a fastball instead of a breaking ball because they're worried about the stolen base, and now it's a double and it's a run. So, with Elijah and Austin, I think those two guys, like you said, Elijah has making some strides in terms of his swing. We feel good about how he's developed there. The thing that he does probably as well as anybody, him and Braden Taylor, is the knowledge of the strike zone. He's a little bit he doesn't believe if he takes a pitch, it's ever a strike, right? He's the guy that's like, well, if I didn't swing at it, then it's a ball. It's kind of like back in the day, old Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas, anytime he struck out looking, it was never a strike, right? Even though you go back and you watch, it's like, Frank, it's right down the middle.
No.
It's like, he's like, no, man, that was out. It's like, no, it was right down the middle. He's like, I didn't swing at it, so it's a ball. So, but yeah, I think the speeds element, brings a piece for us, that we need to have. We're not going to stand in the batter's box and hit a ton of home runs. We have better power. We got more physical guys, but the speed portion is going to play big for sure.
Kirk, there's two really premier early season baseball events, and one is the College Baseball Showdown. The Rangers have done a great job in Arlington building that tournament up. The Shriners College Classic at Minute Maid in Houston, kind of your old stomping grounds, has been the other. Usually I'll see teams like in Arkansas, Texas, they might go 1 year to one event and the next year to the other. You're doing them both. And you're cranking up some tremendous early season competition. So just take me through that, putting the schedule together and wanting to be a part of both of these. Obviously, it's great for your kids to play in two big league ballparks and stay out of the weather, but it's quite a challenge.
Sure, and sandwiched in between that, we have Florida State coming to
Right.
us. So, and then San Diego to right after the third weekend coming back. So yeah, the preseason schedule is one that is going to challenge us and get us prepared for our conference play for sure. We're gonna learn real fast what we're good at, what we're not good at, what we have to get better at, and like for instance, in 2021 when we went to the same tournament in Arlington, Texas went 0-3 and made the College World Series. So there's going to be a team that goes 0-3 this first weekend and will make it to the College World Series. So I think there's two schools of thought. You play teams that you're going to beat to get confidence, or you play teams that are going to challenge you and really let you know what you need to get better at. And so obviously with the schedule we've put forth, you kind of know which one we went for. So
You taught me a term as well today, decision fatigue. And I know you have a meeting and you probably have a lot of decisions coming up. So we appreciate the time. It's always good to talk TCU baseball. It's one of the more enjoyable programs in the country to watch year in and year out. And you're well on your way in your head coaching career. So, Kirk, thanks for the time and best wishes during this crazy first month and beyond.
Appreciate it. I got one question for Hunter. Are they long shorts or short pants?
Oh, what I'm wearing right now?
No, like when you played. Are they long shorts or short pants? Which ones?
Short pants. Short pants. Do you know why I wore them like that?
Why is that?
The pants they used to make us were like a tight rubber band or whatever, and I had bloody knees, and it was just ripping into me. And then when I pulled them up, it felt more functional. Like I liked how I ran like that better. So I feel horrible. It's like I look kind of weird, but man, it feels good. So
you started a trend, my friend. Because
now everyone's doing it
I
like
see
a
it all
style.
over the place now, and now it's even gone to the point where it's like
shorts now.
They literally look like shorts, like NFL. Like how they have those pants that go barely. They literally look like shorts, and I'm like,
I'm sorry, Kirk. I'm sorry.
Hey, you're gonna have to live with that one, Hunter.
It wouldn't be unorthodox if it wasn't Hunter, right? Or it wouldn't be Hunter if it wasn't unorthodox.
That's right.
What are you gonna do? Hey, I appreciate it.
You bet, man. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Kirk Saarloos, our guest from TCU. We'll come back with more Perfect Game College Baseball. Perfect Game College Baseball rolls on. We're going to jump into the ACC with Jack Payton, the catcher from the Louisville Cardinals. And what an amazing season he had a year ago, and can't wait to see what 2023 has in store. But even just going back to last year, all he did was hit .350. How about 89 hits? How about 23 doubles? 54 runs batted in. And of course, he was filling in for the guy who was the number one pick in the draft the previous year at that same position. So, Jack, welcome into Perfect Game College Baseball. I know last year must have been just a tremendous year to kind of propel you forward.
Absolutely. It was a great year. Great team. Made a lot of memories. Thanks for having me.
Take me back, though, a couple of years ago when you were behind Henry Davis. Just you were able to play a little bit, but you were watching him go about his business before he was taken number one by the Pittsburgh Pirates. What did you learn? What did you take from him that when you got your opportunity, you were able to run with it?
Right. Just being able to, compete with him and, be alongside him throughout that whole year, definitely a blessing. It was fun to go up against him, to say the least. I learned a lot, and, we competed against each other and competed like brothers. We just, at the end of the day, we both wanted the same thing. So it was fun.
Yeah, healthy competition is great. You say you learned a lot from him. What are some of the things that you did learn from him in particular?
Right, just work ethic. That's the key thing that sticks out. He's a workhorse in everything he does. Keeping your body right, prehab, after game rehab, just in the weight room, everything how he went about his business. Taking little pieces out of that.
Methodical prehab and rehab. This sounds like you guys have a pretty healthy head coach. One of our favorites. I got to ask you, what's it like to play for the great Dan McDonnell?
Big reason why everyone comes here. He has his ways of just getting kids better, getting the most out of everybody, and really bringing a team together. So it's really fun to play here, and it's a good school to be a part of.
Jack, take me into the prep now to get ready for the year. The weather's not been great. Games are fast approaching. You've been hard at work, of course, going back to the fall before the break. Where are you guys right now? How excited are you to kind of crank up the games for real soon?
Oh, we're ready. We're all excited. This team, we like each other a lot. We're having a lot of fun. We're getting ready. We're all preparing. We got a good click in here, and you could tell everyone's starting to get the horses going. So.
Jack, last year, obviously, Brett brought up like how wonderful you did, all the doubles, the 350 average. Can you take us through kind of, last year, what you learned, and then how you took that into this offseason to prepare, and what you're looking like? Like for me, every year I would kind of reflect, and then I would be really excited for the next year, this new thing that I learned. Was there anything in particular? Are you trying to keep it the same, or what are you most excited for coming into this season?
Absolutely. Just, taking it day by day, really taking it all in, just going one pitch at a time. One thing that I think really helped my game last year was mental performance. Just diving into that kind of type of world. That was my first time ever, and it helped. So we're going to try that again this year and just keep getting better. So.
Oh my gosh, Jack, you're preaching my language. That is the golden ambrosia, if you ask me, the mental performance focus. Do you mind delving a little bit into some of your practices or sharing something? Let's say, if you were to talk to your high school self, because you didn't know about this, or a high schooler that's trying to be a D1 athlete like you, what are some of the things they could do? What are some of the things you do that have really worked for you?
Absolutely. Honestly, not a big book guy, but been reading a lot of books. I've been reading books by Jocko, a lot of Navy SEAL missions that, really give you a good emphasis on life, on how to be a leader and take control of your destiny. Watching highlight videos, because you don't want to, kids tend to look at bad swings and try to fix them, but really that's not the case. Baseball's, 90% confidence. It's you against the pitcher. You just got to beat them one time. Getting in the box, you got to feel great. So, watching videos of good swings, not bad swings, really honing in on that, and just coming into each game like you can't fail. You just gotta know you're going to be successful, and grab the bull by its horns.
Yeah, I like that. And Jack, when you reflect back on last year from an individual standpoint, I'm sure you also do it from a team standpoint. So it's one of those situations. I'm always curious how teams respond to getting to a super regional but not winning. You're 2 games away from Omaha. And then at the end, but you're like, we got to win 2 more games to get to Omaha. So do you take how close you were to the opportunity to get to the College World Series, or do you think back, what is it going to take to be able to win a super regional, whether it's at home or on the road, to be able to win those next 2? Because obviously those are the 2 biggest and 2 most important.
Right. Once you get to the playoffs, every game's the biggest game. So you got to take it, one inning, one pitch at a time. We had our backs against the wall in the regional. We were able to, come together as a team. We made it out of that. And then, going down to Texas A&M, it was a dogfight. Now, never been in an atmosphere like that, but I'd pay anything to go back into that position. So we're ready to go back, and we're ready to play this year. So.
Tell me about a couple of guys on this year's team that we should keep an eye out for. Obviously, we'll be following you, but as Hunter mentioned, this program, this coaching staff, every year it seems to crank out different guys. So maybe give us a name or two of somebody who's looked really good, either somebody you fully anticipate to have a good year, or maybe even somebody that could be a bit of a surprise.
I can't just name a few. I can name the whole team, but I'll give a shout out to my roommates, Christian Epchick, Riley Phillips, and Ryan McCoy. Just absolute workhorses, and it's fun to live with them. We definitely push each other.
It sounds. I can feel how much you guys enjoy being around each other. I love that excitement for this season. I want to dive into a little bit. You play one of my favorite positions. I think it's the quarterback of the baseball team. Not only do you put up great offensive numbers, but the catcher is the battery with every single pitcher. You got to know all your guys. You got to be on tune with all of the opposing team's hitters. Talk a little bit about why you love catching and that challenge and what you love about it.
Yeah, just from an early age, being able to put your hands kind of in the middle of the game, controlling pitching staffs, getting able to just learn who each guy is, how to talk to them, whether you got to get on them or whether you got to give them, just, hey, tell them your stuff's electric, even though it might just be average. Hey, but just being able to, feed confidence to the whole team and just set the tone throughout the game. That's what I love about catching. So.
Jack, you're spot on, and you have to know that because there's some people that respond to you getting on them, and there's some people that you have to tell them how good they are and they get better. And it's just like figuring that out is kind of wild. It's amazing that you're already onto that and diving in, man. But healthy that you're working on that in college. It just gets me super excited. And I want to ask you, is there a catcher you watch in the big leagues or a big league player you really love? Is there anyone you kind of model yourself after or in particular?
Right. Growing up, it's hard not to watch these guys, but obviously Yadier Molina and then JT Realmuto, two just the faces of, kind of catching in baseball. And they're fun guys to watch and fun guys to try to emulate.
Wait a minute. Can a guy from the Chicagoland area kind of be a fan of Yadier Molina?
It's tough.
He's Yadi, man.
You gotta respect
catcher.
Same with Pujols. You just gotta game respects game. So you just watch and you just try to love baseball. So
I appreciate that. I think that makes perfect sense. Before you came on the show, Jack, we were talking to Kirk Saarloos of TCU, who pitched in the minors, pitched in the majors, was a pitching coach, became a head coach, and it felt like TCU has a similar pitching philosophy year in and year out, even when the names stay the same. Is there something about the Louisville pitching staff that you handle that every year you can count on, that is consistent, even when the talent level or the individuals are different every season?
Just the way we prepare all year round. We're preparing for the worst and, trying to make guys tougher all year. So, when a guy gets on the mound, there's going to be butterflies. If there's not, then you shouldn't be out there. But, they're going to take control of the moment and, throw strikes and give us their best shot. So.
And Jack, we touched on a little bit on the defense, on the catching, and we talked about your numbers. But can you take us through a little bit of your hitting process, your approach at the plate, and what are keys to your success when you're in the box?
Absolutely. Just trying to hit early in the count, big fastball hitter. Always going up there, looking fastball, reacting to off speed if I see it up. Just trying to work gap to gap. I like to say either take the pitcher's head off or try and burn the center fielder. That's honestly my approach, but just staying simple, moving the ball, and just trusting in my process.
Yeah, doing some damage. I think that's a lot of fun. And kind of a follow-up to that, and I always enjoy when Hunter wants to talk about, mechanics and mentality and what you do in the box. But I'm curious how the family plays into that. Your dad, Dave, played at Illinois, played in the minor leagues. A brother, Mark, I believe, that played at Texas and got a chance to make his debut in the big leagues a couple of years back. How does the family influence come about? How do those guys interact with you, whether it's supporting you or whether you guys go home over Christmas and you're in the garage or at the cage and just talking hitting?
Yeah, I'm very blessed to come from a baseball family. Got two brothers. They both played. Got a dad that played. We all just kind of live for the game, and it's really just it's fun going home during Christmas break, being able to hit with both of them and just, kind of chew at their brains at what they think and just pick apart our swings and just honestly just have fun. So it's a good time. Very blessed for that. Yeah.
Are you the youngest?
I am.
All right. So how do the two older brothers and a dad and everybody's playing in college, minors, majors? How does all that knowledge kind of funnel down to you? Are you the last resort of the testing ground, or do you get the best out of everybody from all the experiences that they've had?
Yeah, I'd say just try. I mean, picking their brains. I guess I'm the youngest brother, so I like to stir the pot. Kind of take jabs at my brothers, get the best out of them, see what they can handle, and honestly, it's kind of who made me who I am today, and just very thankful for them. So,
one final question with Jack Payton. Jack, give me an idea what you think the ACC is going to be like. I see a lot of SEC baseball, and I'm always intrigued about the ACC. And of course, once we get to the postseason, regionals, super regionals, Omaha, it's a great chance to kind of see leagues go head to head. And sometimes we get that early in the year with some of these early season events. What's the ACC like day in and day out? And maybe do you have any expectations of how tough it's going to be again this year?
It's going to be a grind. It's going to be fun. A lot of good arms this year, a lot of good bats. We're going to have to come to play every day, and that's about all I could say. But as of right now, we're just focused on the first weekend, first game. So we're excited. It's going to be a long year, but it's going to be fun, and I think we're ready for it. So.
Hunter, he sounds like somebody who's been around this coaching staff in Louisville and some brothers and a father. I mean, he's only looking forward to that first game. I mean, that's what you'd expect, right?
Yeah, that's baseball, and it's a beautiful mindset. You got to constantly be in the moment, and if you're caught up too far ahead, you're already in your own way. So that's beautiful stuff. It looks like you're prepared. Good luck, and man, have a wonderful season, Jack.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. That's Jack Payton of Louisville. And that's going to wrap our show. We also had Kirk Saarloos on from the TCU Horned Frogs. So for the birthday boy, Jim Jenks, our producer, he's going to go straight to the bar to celebrate. For Hunter Pence and our crew, I'm Brett Dolan. Thanks for watching another edition of Perfect Game College Baseball.